All right, good afternoon and welcome to Jack Dodson's Insider Racing News with arena racing legend Scott Allen. So tell us all about, well, before we get started on the real racing.
Oh, real racing?
Tell us about the 2 nights up at Richmond and the.
Well, I had the honor to race with your brother.
Let's talk about something serious.
Nah, we've made some big gains on our car. I want to say we've been kind of frustrated because we didn't have any speed in our car, and we finally put tires on it. We changed a few more things, and we're in the O's. So we obviously on Friday I just went up. We didn't even qualify the car. I started in the back of the C main, and they had left my chain too loose, so it was actually slipping. I didn't even think we were going to make it. I mean, under when we start getting going before the green flag, it was making all this noise. I'm like, I might as well park because it's not going to make it. And the green flag took off, and so it stayed together, but it was like slipping down the straightaways, and it was like 20 laps into it. And he's like, JT, I was telling him, I'm like, dude, it's not going to make it the whole race. He's like, well, just ride it till it quits. And we ended up third, and they had a bunch of big names, a bunch of guys sandbagged to get into the C main, which was. At first, when I was driving up there, I was thinking this is going to be embarrassing to win a C main race with the drivers that are in it. It's not, we would be in 2 different levels, and it's not fair to them, and it's kind of silly. But when I got there was quite a few big guys that were in that class that really should be in the A main. And then Saturday we made the A main. We just barely made it, but we made it, and then we finished 8th in the A main out of 9. So we're getting better.
So did they have more cars there now because of
Yeah, we did. There's been
a
few cars. I can't remember how many there is. There was 9 in the A main. I can't remember how much was in it. So it was roughly 22, 20. No, more than that. I'm not exactly sure. Cody is still on a roll. I mean, he's won.
Did he win both times?
Yeah. So it's 10 straight races.
What's that mean when down the road for him? Let's tear him down and see what he's got.
Well, they've already done that. They didn't find anything in the motor because everybody really thought that his motor was cheated up, and they found no performance advantage in this motor. They did that the following week. They tore it completely down there at the racetrack. So he's good to go, and everybody else is going to have to work on their chassis as well as us because we're still. A 1/10 to 2/10 off.
So no racing this week.
No, we don't go back until the 20th.
Oh, okay.
So we got a little vacation.
Okay, a little vacation. You had a vacation between the last one.
We knocked 2 out, so we got 4 races left. Oh. And then our last race is the Thursday before the Richmond race, so that's going to be pretty good. That'll be fun.
I just hope you keep on beating my brother because
Well, that. As long as all the tires are on, I don't think
I have to pull for you because I have to sit here with you. I don't see him very often. I got to pull for you. I had the experience of spending the weekend in Atlanta. Got to see the trucks and the cup cars and the Xfinity cars.
And you got to watch everybody fail inspection and not go through qualifying.
That is, I don't know.
Was everybody for the same thing?
Everybody was for the very same thing, rear end camber. And I mean, it's like Jeff Gordon said. He said, if it had been 4 or 5 cars maybe, okay. But We're talking 16 cars got stopped.
Yeah, that's a third of the field.
And pulled back and said, you got to go through again. And 3 of them had enough time to make it out to make a run for at the pole. The others didn't. And he said if you got 16 cars, NASCAR has to take part of that blame somewhere along the line. NASCAR.
But didn't they extend it 15 minutes or started 15 minutes later or something?
They did. They tried to start it 15 minutes later. That still didn't help because you had to wait for everybody to go through once.
Right.
Before the others come through.
Right.
So they went through before, I know, and I'm talking the 24 car, the Jeff Gordon's car went through before practice that morning.
And it passed?
It passed. They go through before qualifying. It doesn't. don't understand. They didn't understand what had happened. But then you had Jimmy Johnson didn't pass, Casey Kane, Tony Stewart, Danica made it out. Danica made it out of there. Matt DiBenedetto with the 83 car didn't even make the race because he didn't.
I think both of the 51 and the 46.
Both of them did not go through. They didn't make it through. The 51 did. They finally made a run.
Oh, they did.
They did make one run. The 46 never got out there to make a run. And Stenhouse was out there. He didn't make it. So it wasn't one brand of car, you know.
Right, it wasn't one, because my first thought was it was all Hendrick stuff, because you had the Tony Stewart, the Hendricks, and then you had the 51 and the 46, which are associated with Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, it wasn't a team affiliation. It wasn't one thing like that. I didn't get it. And then to turn around on Saturday and have an issue on Saturday.
So they had the same issue?
They had an issue on Saturday. They had to go back through a couple times. And then on Sunday, they went through the 24 car, and I'm only speaking because that's the only car that I know something about. The 24 car went through 5 times.
All weekend?
No, Sunday.
Sunday. Oh, good God! And I don't think some people don't realize when you fail the first time. I remember when I was helping a nationwide team and they had failed once, and then the next morning we were trying to get back through Tech. Well, other people that hadn't gone through it all,
they go first. Nope,
so then it's like if you fail twice, then somebody that's failed once, they go in front of you.
It was just unbelievable. They had them lined up out there, and then of course. On race day, Kevin Harvick didn't make it through. They pulled him to the side because he was in a backup car. I mean, not a backup car.
Mm.
He put a backup engine in and was going to the back, and so he kind of fell back in the order as far as being inspection. And it was unbelievable. Them guys were not happy. Not at all.
Why do they change the camber on this thing? I don't think there's no quick, easy way. They
There-
like the
there-
front end where you can adjust it real easy because that's
all I
the
know
differential.
is they tried to heat up a
The
couple
tube.
cars. They tried to heat the cars up to move the camber around.
Because that's all preset in the rear end.
Yeah, so it's like one of the NASCAR officials told me that they're trying to push the limit, and it didn't work this time. But then
If you ain't cheating, you ain't competing.
So it was kind of funny. It was really funny to watch. I mean, they were going back and forth through
How
there.
many people were mad that they didn't get to qualify? I mean, obviously the 46 had to be because he didn't make the race.
He didn't make the race.
It's not their own doing.
I talked to Matt, and he just briefly because he was going out the track. I don't think he was too happy. I know the guys that didn't qualify that ended up having to go to the back, like Tony Stewart and Jeff, and
there was a bunch of good cars back there.
and they were not happy at all. And I understand there was a little squabble in the inspection area when all that was going on too. So yeah, we'll see what happens. They say that when they get to Vegas, there's going to be some being late for practice or something's going to take place.
Some penalties of some sort.
Yeah, but they're not going to announce it until they get there.
Mm-hmm. But we had a good Daytona 500. That was probably one of the most exciting Daytonas that I've seen in a good while. Especially when they were 3 wide, 20 cars deep, it seemed like, and they put on a good show.
It was a great
show. And Atlanta was a good show. I was surprised to see the 22 set on the pole, and I was surprised at how fast those cars came from the back to the front.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jeff was in the top 10 within
25 laps.
Yeah, he was back up there, but
the
Hamlin went away.
Well, tires are so bad there, but I would have thought that those guys would have took it easy the first 10 laps to save the tires to be able to make that. Well, of course, they knew they had that mandatory caution too, so they probably played into it because they were going to get fresh tires either way. Yeah. So they didn't really have to save their tires as much. But I was surprised because I was at the gym, and when I came back, turned the TV on, Harvick was second. I'm like, damn, man. I mean,
he cut through the field quick. I mean, and Jeff was behind him, like 2 or 3 cars behind him, and I think Jimmy was running. They were all 3 running pretty close together as they come through the field.
Yeah, because most of them followed Jimmy up through most of the field, and then when they started getting up, top 10, then they sort of spread it apart there a little bit. This week we got Brian Vickers is going to be back.
Yep, he's going to be. He was at the race. I didn't talk to him. I saw him walking around there. talked to Brett Moffitt. They're hoping they're going to get something for him with MWR for the rest of the year.
And he did
a great job. He did a great job. They were, and it was like I read somewhere today that the Ty Norris, one of the people with MWR, said, "Look, it just goes to show that he should be considered one of those young guns that's coming along." And I think he is. He's done a great job.
He has.
It's really good. But it was some good racing down there. Really good racing. I enjoyed it.
What about David Reagan getting in the 18 car? Now, was that a surprise to you?
That was a surprise. Yeah.
It was to me.
It was
he
a
wasn't.
surprise.
I would have figured somebody that they had in the fold, or who did they have run Daytona?
Matt Crafton.
Matt did a good job.
I mean,
be thrown in a car.
But the thing about it is, who other than the guys that you have running right now, who does Toyota have that can move into a Cup car?
And that was the other thing, coming from a Ford ride.
And Ford let them do it.
Well, yeah, but is that team?
Yes.
It is a factory-backed team.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because some of those teams, just because they're running a Ford or GM or Chevrolet doesn't necessarily mean that they're getting backing from the manufacturer.
But the benefit for Ford is, if Reagan wins a race,
which I think he could do.
He could, and we're talking about Talladega. He could really win Talladega because he's always good there. But he could win a race. Let's just say, and I don't know the time frames of when Kyle could come back or whatever. He has to go back to that car, that Ford. He gets to go into the chase.
Right.
And the Ford car gets to go with him. I mean, if he's back in the Ford.
Well, the car will get advertising, but I don't think the car itself is not in a chase. The 18 car would be
But
in
he's
a
in
chase.
the driver chase. He's in the driver, but it's not the owner's. That's not the owner
Right.
point. But he gets to go, and the Ford will get the exposure.
Right, and then I mean, I don't blame David Reagan. It's a great opportunity for him. Plus, what he will learn over at Joe Gibbs, and then he can take back to his little small team and bring some ideas. And hey, this is what we did over there, and this is what they're doing. And I'm sure there's probably, I would think that there's going to be some technical alliance. You never know. I mean, when sometimes these deals come through, you wouldn't be surprised to see that team go to Toyota next year and have some affiliation.
Well, there's some talk that there's going to be some more Toyota teams next year because Toyota's basically down to 2 teams really.
Well, yeah, they have.
And they're talking about it. And then they lost Bubba Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was one of their.
That was a surprise to me.
Well, I think it comes down to the fact they didn't have sponsorship. And Jack Rouse is going to run him, sponsorship or not.
Right. They're going to fund it whether they got sponsorship or not.
So he's going to be there.
And let's be honest, too. They haven't really had funding for him. A lot of guys, Toyota's paid for a lot of stuff out of their pocket from the way I understand it. So, I mean, they really haven't had sponsorship for him. Somebody that's been stepped up and paid for it.
And you know, Kyle, in the truck series, you could get by with that a little easier.
Right, it's not as hard on the pocket.
Of course, and then you know he had the backing of the Toyota company, and then there was all the stuff with.
But he did a good job because he
won some big races.
Not having any sponsorship or what little bit they were getting, they were certainly underfunded. You know, less people at the racetrack compared to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did a great job. So yeah, absolutely.
It's unbelievable. He'll be one of those guys that I think that'll down the road maybe this will work out good for him. You know, because he'll have somebody that's going to put the effort there to keep him in the car. But I'm gonna tell you something. Those Roush Fords.
You think they're stepping their program up?
Busher and
Chris, yeah, and he's done a good job.
And the other guy.
From 7039129.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has done a great job.
Hello. Inside. This is Jack Dodsons, Insider Racing News. How you doing, Mr. Devine?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for calling in tonight, and we'll catch up with you and see how things were going with you and your team.
Well, we're getting there, I guess. I mean, kind of a rough start. We had one missed Daytona, and then and we had one missed Atlanta. So we're, you know, we took 3 to Daytona and 3 to Atlanta. We only raced 2 of them in each race. So
Yeah. Now,
we're getting after it a little bit.
the situation down, I was in Atlanta this weekend, and I was down there with all the stuff going on in the garage, with all the inspections and stuff. What is your take on all that, how all that worked out? I mean, it's unbelievable that 16 cars had to go back through inspection.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling we were going to talk about that. You know, my take on it is it was just a chain of events that led up to it. You know, it was a combination of a lot of things happening, and you know,
Right.
just too many pieces trying to get through too small a spot at the same time. So I think it's something that, you know, we'll address down the road, and hopefully it'll be better for everybody. And you know, like I said, I think it was just an unfortunate situation. I mean, the piece of it that everybody, or that I won't hear about everybody, but you know, that I'm trying to sort through my own mind is, you know, they fixed it for 15 minutes, but it didn't fix the whole problem. It fixed about half the problem, and you know, that was kind of a tough one to swallow. But you know what? I don't think they did anything intentional. I think it was just, like I say, a series of events that led up to it. It's a tough job. I mean, they're trying to balance the field, make sure everybody's playing by a set of rules, and you know, they give you tolerances, and I guess somehow it just seemed like everybody was outside of the tolerances. So I don't know.
So this year you made.
Let's hope it's behind us. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I hope so too, because you know, it was something to see. I was down there watching it, and I just it amazed me that, and some of the higher echelon teams, I guess you would say, that they even got caught up in this stuff, and
How many there were?
yeah, how many it was. To me it seems like somewhere along the line there was another problem other than the fact that the teams were doing it.
Well, like I said, I think it's, you know, it's not that uncommon to go through twice, you know, but I think that it's a combination of just getting at it late and then just, you know, too slow going through, and, you know, I mean, some of these changes are so small, you know, you almost wonder if at some point you have to have some decision-making ability to say whether you're gaining an advantage or not. I mean, you can't go to prison for jaywalking, right?
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
You want to try to have some sense of order to it, but like I said, I think there's a lot of people looking at it and addressing it, and I think we'll be just fine. It's just one of those things that happened, and I think we put it behind us and move forward.
All right, now you even had some the issues on Thursday with the practice day or the testing day. What was that about? You had 2 of your cars that weren't able to practice or something?
Yeah, so, you know, early in the season, and we're having to convert our motors and stuff over, so we were still making a lot of changes to it, just getting them ready to go, and it was a situation where we just we ran out of time, and you know, we made a decision to go on and just start swapping out motors, get ready to race instead of
Right.
you know, getting out there practicing. So it probably hurt us. You know, we want to get these guys as much track time as we can, but you know, we could. You know, it sounds like a long time. You talk about an hour and a half here and an hour and a half there, but it goes quick. And, you know, you start to make a few changes, and you know, you change out one fuel cell, and there's about half your practice.
That's true. Now you've made some changes over there with your team as far as your drivers and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what all you've done with the changes you've made, some of the people you brought in.
Well, you know, any competitive sport, I mean, it's all about your performance, and you know, when things aren't going all that well, you gotta look to make a change, to try to make it better. And I think that you know, you never know if it's going to be better or not, but we've changed a lot of things, and you know, we're working on improving our performance on the track. I think in a lot of ways, you know, this season, you know, one we studied and owned a little piece of the 71 team, and then we've had Red Bull now for 3 full seasons. and so it's time for us to step up our game and start to make things happen. I think, from a business side, it requires better performance, and I think everybody, there's anybody in that shop doesn't want us to improve. We added Jeff Burton this year. I think, again, my strategy is to find a new young talent and then hopefully stay with them. We want them to be happy, and we want to be happy with them, and some will work and some won't. We got J.J. Yaley. We put a little senior coverage in there to help anchor us. And Johnny, Starter did a nice job for us in Daytona because he's full time in the trucks, and we'll see what his availability is. But then the poor guy that didn't get to make a lap was Matt DiBenedetto, and Matt's been around for quite some time. He's tested for a number of teams, and he tests real well, and I think he's got great car control. He's a wonderful young man, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on the track. He's been really, really fast in everything that he's jumped in. And I also think, Jeff, he's making a big step from truck up, but I think I watched him save that car a couple of times when it was loose, and we started out the race real strong. And then, I think the track got away from us a little bit, and we loosened the car up, and then the track got loose, and the next thing you know, he was having to buy a ticket to get back in the infield. Look forward to really building a good relationship with them. I'm very excited about having them on with us, and like I said, I hope this is a long-term commitment from both of our perspectives, and so we can make something happen.
Yeah. So Ron, what got you into racing?
Well, depends on which time you mean, but
it's
funny. We grew up. My father was captain at Fort Myer and a member of Spring Kentucky Fire Department, Company 5, and kind of like the Old Dominion Speedway and Fire Department was bound together, and so just as a little kid in the 60s, we were running around the Old Dominion Speedway, and so I kind of was around it and loved it. I left there in the mid-70s, went off to James Madison University, and
so you're from around here then. You're not far from.
Oh yeah, I was born in D.C. and raised in Northern Virginia. Yeah, with the Robert E. Lee High School right here in Springfield, then on to JMU, and so honestly, I haven't found any place I'd rather be. We have all 4 seasons. Although this one's starting to wear on me a little bit. We're getting freezing rain here now.
Yeah.
But it's a great area. I mean, kind of running the world out of D.C. and it's got all the characteristics you would want in a place like good education and just everything you need. But anyway, so I got away from it for a while, and then went to work and built these Burger Kings and did all that stuff. If you look at NASCAR as a delivering marketing tool, it's one of the best ones out there.
Right.
You can get a multiple of your money from delivery. And for those companies that get it and understand that, they get behind it and they start to activate it, and then it snowballs for them. They really do a good job with it. So, what really brought me back to it was just the concept of bringing Burger King to the NASCAR world, and of course we run the Dr. Pepper 23 car. It took a couple of years to get all that organized, but we feel like we over-deliver. We love having it from that perspective. So it's a great business, and it's something that I enjoy doing, and it's hard, which I really like. And I think that not everybody built for it, and I think that for the ones that are, it can be very rewarding.
Yeah, I think some people don't realize how hard the sport really is. It kills me when we have some people, my aunt and uncle's a great example. They're just like, well, why don't they just loosen the car up? Well, there's like 15 things that you can do to do that one. And it's which one is going to make it fast, It can handle well, but it's still got to be fast.
That's right.
I agree with you. They have, in general, it's one of the best kept secrets is just how hard it is. People say it all the time, but it doesn't sink in. I mean, it's just the little fractions of time that we're dealing with is, and the things you have to do to capture that, split second, it's unbelievable. I mean, just tenths of seconds here and there. And in order to make a game, you got to get everything clicking just right.
Right.
So it's amazing. But most competitive sport is like that. When you get right down to it, golf
Right.
is just a stroke or two, and you look at anything timed. It amazes me downhill skiing. It can ski all over a mountain and come out hundreds of seconds apart. And we're the same way. We run anywhere from the half a mile to the 2.5 miles. We all come back to the start finish line at the same time.
Right.
So
Now, does this no testing rule? Does that something you think that helps your team as a smaller team compared to?
You broke up there.
The no testing rule, is the no testing rule, do you feel like that's something that helps the smaller teams like you compared to like the Hendrick Motorsports or the Richard Childresses?
Probably. I mean, the larger budgeted teams, gain. I mean, there's no question that we gained when we go test. We went to Michigan and test, and then we went up there and qualified ninth. And it was a direct result of what we had learned just from our setup and stuff. So, on one hand, it probably was an advantage for those larger teams.
And then how much money do you save from that?
I don't know that I've ever sat down and figured it out, but in round numbers, it was probably, about $100,000 a test to go do it for us. Now I know the other, some of the larger teams spend a lot more money on that, and that's just all the pieces parts to do it. I mean, to get all the testing equipment together and all that stuff is, six figures too. So, but we have all that stuff. So the good news is I think we'll still get to use it along the way. But now I haven't seen yet. Maybe it evens out the field. That's what I kind of hope, is that if nobody's testing, then it's going to be a matter of how much study hall do you have.
That was my thought, that it would sort of even the playing field some. It'd be harder for somebody to get in an advantage.
I think all of these changes you see as an evolution of the sport. I think that NASCAR is trying to make it better and work. And, the RTA is trying to make it better and work. I think all the owners are all trying to evolve it. It's true in all the sports, but it's especially true in NASCAR that there's a lot of change happening, a lot of change coming, and they're trying things. Some are going to work, some are not going to work. But in general, I think everyone's trying to improve the economics of the sport, also the viewership of it, the interest in it. A lot of the younger generation, they don't look at cars the way we did. It's a different environment. So we got to find a way to attach them to them and keep their interest in it.
With how does the schedule now with 3 weeks on the West Coast, how does that affect a smaller team like yours? How does that affect your manpower and being prepared for the races?
You should call me when we get to Martinsville.
Well, we'll probably see you there.
I think we haven't. I mean, it makes some sense when you're kind of out there to stay out there, but it doesn't work out quite like that yet. So, we're going to leave some out and bring some back, and then I'm lucky because I have 3 2-car haulers and 1 4-car hauler, so I can move the cars back and forth. But
now we all leave.
There's a test on Tuesday back in Charlotte after Vegas, so we're going to run back and do that, and then reload, and then head out to the West Coast. So I'm anxious to see. I'm kind of anxious to try it. It just seemed like a lot before to go Phoenix, Vegas, back, and then Fontana, and then back. So it might work out okay. We'll see how. That's one of those things I think they're trying, and then they're going to look at it and just be honest with whether it works or not.
It's kind of weird that they would put a Charlotte test in between all that too.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, but I think you got to come back. You got to come back some. You know what I mean? You can't just go out there and stay. I mean, it's impossible to get everything.
So will y'all bring the trucks and the cars and all that stuff back?
Say it again.
So y'all will bring the trucks and the cars and all those things back?
I don't know that we'll bring them all. First thing you got to figure out is, there's 48 entries in Vegas. So we'll see if see how that goes. And then it depends on how much you tear up and all that other stuff, and how much you move back and forth.
True, right.
It's not too bad, the Phoenix and stuff. But you start heading to Fontana, I mean, my guess is we'll go to Vegas and then come back with, maybe half, and then we'll reload for Phoenix and then stay out there for Fontana and then come back to Arkansas.
Wow, that's a lot of logistics you got to work out there.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's what we do. It's travel and the logistics of the whole season are something you got to get your arms around. And we get it right sometimes, and then we, end up at the wrong place sometimes. So it's, I'm anxious to try it. We'll see how it goes here.
Well, Mr. Devine, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, and we'll get back with you again. We'll call you after Martinsville and see how things went.
Yeah.
Call me in Martinsville. I'll be laying on the curb.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to come by and meet you at Martinsville and talk with you a little bit. I was trying to find you at Atlanta, but I got tied up with some other things, and so I hope to get a chance to meet you down there.
Well, I hope you do. Next time you're at the track, just come by and you see around. I'm trying to get to the races for qualifying and then stay through the race.
Okay.
So that's kind of what my travel schedule is. But come by, you're welcome to come, and we'll get you inside, and you can take a look at what we're doing. And I appreciate you having us on and say nice things about BK Racing.
We will do that, and we appreciate all the time you give us too. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Okay, man.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That was good.
That is really, he's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had a chance to find him at the racetrack. I never did have a chance to find him, and I wanted to have a chance to talk to him and find out,
Well, he seems very open, where some guys don't really want to say, but he seems very open.
Well, you can tell the people, he says he's from Virginia, and he went around. You can tell the difference in the type of people that there are. And
Right.
It's really cool. Anyway, I'm supposed to be waiting on Matt DiBedetto, but
I can't say. I'm not even going to attempt it.
But
I'm just calling Matty.
He's supposed to be calling me, but I don't know when. So we got a minute to talk about something else. I don't want to talk arena racing because you being a legend.
High class stuff right there.
You being a legend and everything. But let's see. Let's go back and talk Xfinity racing. Your man Harvick.
One in Atlanta.
I was thinking Sunday. Wouldn't it have been really good?
I thought he was going to have
the 88 truck won.
Oh,
the 88 Xfinity car won. Wouldn't it be something if Junior had won and then?
He's won there before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the car. I don't even think did he crack the top 5?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
He even led a lap or two, I think, somewhere along the line too.
I mean, I really thought that Harvick was going to. I mean, obviously he led a whole lot. I thought he was going to be the one to beat. And then there at the end, Jimmy Johnson pulled it through.
Yeah, well, you can see him doing pretty good most of that race, and.
Yeah, but they did. He was there, but then the last third of the race, even though he was back in like 5th, 8th place, they had fixed their car and they were really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard one time Chad come over the radio and said, "You're the fastest thing on the racetrack. Just keep doing what you're doing." Of course, I still thought he wasn't going to catch Harvick, but he did.
Yeah, and Logano had a good day too.
And I mean, David Reagan did a good job there in the beginning. I don't know what I think they fell off there at the end, but in the beginning he was running at 7th or 8th in the 18 car. He qualified 13th or 14th, and then at one time I think in the first run or the second run he was in the top 10. I thought, dag, this is going to look good for him. But